Start off here. Tell me a little bit about what it was like missing the portion that you did due to the injury that you had and what it was like to come back from that.
It was obviously very tough. I kind of came into the season, my senior year, just kind of be the guy. Like, it had taken me 4 years to get the starting job, and it was finally my time after putting in a lot of work in the film room, in the weight room. So after that first game, I hit like a 56-yard touchdown run. I was confident, I was comfortable, and my goal was to win the NJAC championship and the beat Pittsburgh at the end of the year. I never got to play them. So the second game came. I got hurt on my first carry. I finished the game, and then got the X-ray results and found out that it was really serious and that I was gonna miss the remaining of the season. So after that, I happened to be in the hospital room like a night before the surgery, and I get a call from my coach. And it was like, I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, he's checking on me. He's checking to see how I'm doing. And he asked me when I was graduating. And I was like, well, I'm actually a little behind on my credits. I'm not going to be graduating until next fall. And he said, well, what do you think about redshirting? So I was like, it was never I was never going to not come back. There was no question about it. I told him, I was like, I'll let you know, I'll think about it. So I started rehab about a month and a half later with Pat Lamboni. I was in the sling for a while, but I started rehabbing my chest every single morning with Pat. And that was tough because he kicks your butt. Like, if anybody's ever told you any stories about Pat Lamboni, like, that guy is ruthless. Like, he will put you through some stuff. And
Right.
he definitely challenged me and tested me. But once it came down to the start of next year, I really just enjoyed the process, the whole off season, working out with my team, uh, working with my guys in the summer, Ocean City. Like, I got really close with everybody, and it was just really refreshing to get back on the field. I wasn't scared. I wasn't worried. I was just enjoying the moment. Wasn't taking anything for granted. I didn't know if I was going to last the whole season. Honestly, I thought, I might get hurt again, but I'm going to do my part as captain of the team, and I'm going to put my best foot forward. And first play of the year, I got like a 49-yard run, and it was like, all right, I'm back. And it was just, it was really cool. It felt great.
Right. So tell me a little bit about the 2020 team. Obviously, went further than the team has gone in a while. Tell me a little bit about the group of guys you had in the locker room.
So this team that we had the past year, it was filled with a lot of big personalities, a lot of big ego guys. But the thing that separated this team from every other team we played is this team had a lot of leaders. Like, we had 7 to 10 guys that could step up and say something that could address the entire team, and everybody would listen because everybody respected all the older guys, because everybody on this team, especially the seniors, had been through 3 years straight of losing NJAC championships, of losing late games in the fourth quarter, losing games in overtime, losing to Wesley, losing to Frostburg. So we had been through a lot of heartbreak, a lot of suffering the past few years, and ultimately it made us stronger. This team, I always think, like, the reason this team was so successful was because of our past 3 years failing. Like, this past season, there was no question about it. We weren't going to be denied. I mean, we went into Wesley, our home game against them, and they scored 2 touchdowns in the first 3 minutes of the game. We were down 14-0. And I'm on the sideline, and I'm looking at the scoreboard, and I'm like, that sucks. But there was no question that we were going to win that game. And that was – the entire team had that mindset. So it was kind of like we all had the same goal in mind, which was win the NJAC championship. And later on in that season, it kind of changed to we got a chance to make a run at the national title. So everybody on the team had an individual story. There was a lot of guys that came back from injury, not just me. And a lot of guys who had been through some tough games in the past that ultimately just made us stronger. And this 2020 team this year was probably one of the best Salisbury teams in history.
Now, did you feel that the Wesley game was kind of the turning point of the season? Like, did you see that, wow, we beat Wesley for the first time in a couple years? Was that the point where you could see that, hey, we can make a run at this thing, win the NJAC championship and go into NCAA playoffs?
I think the Rowan game was a turning point in the season because that was right after we put a few wins together against good teams. We beat our three toughest teams we played were Wisconsin Oshkosh, Wesley, and Montclair State. And we played all those teams right back to back to back. So after we had beaten those teams, it was like we had to play a Rowan team who wasn't that good, but we had these analysts, these D3, experts or whatever, saying that this was a trap game. This was a game that Salisbury could slip up on. And we had slipped up on some games in the past, teams that we should have beat. And we ended up, we killed them. I don't even remember what the score was, but I think we beat them by 30 or 40. And after that, it was kind of like, okay, like this isn't about the NJAC championship anymore. We had already beaten the toughest teams in our schedule. And this was no disrespect to any of the teams that we were playing coming up, but it was to our understanding that we should handle these teams pretty well. We changed our goal to, we could win the national championship. NJAC was our goal beginning of the year, get that ring on our hand. Now, like, we can do some special things. But that Wesley game, for sure, that was a back and forth kind of game. We were down 14-0. Then we scored 20 unanswered. Then they scored, tied it up. Then we scored, they scored, it was like a boxing fight. Like, it was like back and forth. They're like the most athletic team we'll play all year. And but we worked really good that game and got the job done. But definitely the Wesley game was kind of like a good sign for the season that we can do some special things.
At the year-end banquet, you were named the Bobby Richards Award. What did that award mean to you?
It was kind of funny because I've always like won those kind of awards before in the past. Like in high school, I always joke about how they literally like made up awards for me. Like at the end of the year, it was kind of like I wasn't the MVP of the team. I wasn't the leading rusher of the team. So the coaches kind of got together, like, we got to give them something. So at the end of my 1 year, junior year of high school, they gave me the scout team MVP because I was like a backup player as a scout team MVP. I was like, what the heck? So, and then the next year, my senior year, I won the hard hat award, which at the end of every week, they give the hard hat. It's like a construction hat with the football logo on it of the toughest player for that week. And they ended up doing that a year-end award, and they gave that to me for the season. So I remember it was like week 4, week 5 of the season, and this is like pre-practice. We're stretching, and Shane Gaines, one of the coaches, comes up to me, and he was like, what do you think about winning the Bobby Richards Award? And I just kind of like rolled my eyes like, yeah, whatever. He's like, what? Like, that's a good award. Like, that's a great award. I was like, I know. He's like, you know you're going to win that, right? And I was like, yeah, I probably will, yeah. And then once it got announced to me, like, I was so humbled and so proud to win that because everything, all the meaning behind it, and a lot of great players in the past have won it. So it's definitely a cool thing to add to my resume. I was thinking about it the other day. And, yeah, that was very proud to win that award and, just thank my teammates and coaches for giving that to me, really.
Jumping into the wrestling training side of things here. So tell me a little bit about all that stuff that you've got going on, the group that you're in and kind of how all that kind of stuff works.
I'm training at a wrestling school called MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling. It's kind of just outside of Baltimore on Pulaski Highway in Joppatown. And it's basically like it's a big flea market. And in the back is like a big arena. That's where we host all our shows. And that's where we have the training school. Basically, I'm training with a bunch of people who have dreams of one day being professional wrestlers, being on TV, traveling the world, performing in front of live audiences and putting on shows for people. This is something I've kind of always been interested in since I was like probably 5 years old. And I never really considered a career into it until I was about 18 years old. When I was in high school, I was like that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. I made up my mind. And but I was going into college playing football, and I started doing my training sophomore year, and no one knew about it. Like, my coaches didn't know about it. My teammates didn't know about it. I kind of kept it quiet because I didn't want people to think that I wasn't 100% all in with the football team. My idea was I wanted to get 2 years of training in so that by the time I graduate, after playing 4 years of football, that I could be ready to hit the road and start doing shows. I'd be ready to perform and, start making some money, start getting my name out there. So that was kind of the idea with that.
What are the things about that you enjoy?
I think it's like I may come off as like arrogant, but I just like when all eyes are on me. Like, I like the pressure. I like getting the ball. I like when the crowd is watching me, and it's like the adrenaline rush before, just like in football, before you hit the field before a game, because you don't know what's gonna happen. Before you walk through the curtain, when you're up on stage, on the ramp, walking down as everyone's looking at you, like, I feed off that and the energy in the crowd. I've always kind of been like a natural fighter. Like, I've always loved fighting, stuff like that. So I like the physical aspect of it. And it's really the performance, the entertainment, the characters within the business that I love. Like, I've always been big into acting. I was a theater minor at Salisbury, and I can't stress. I mean, I know I'm known as like an athlete at Salisbury, but the theater program at Salisbury is incredible. Like, the amount of work those actors and actresses put in. I mean, they have their schedule for rehearsals for their plays, like the school plays. They have one in the fall, one in the spring. Like, it's literally like 5 to 6 hours straight, 7 days a week. And it's based off of their schedule. Not everybody can make it every day, but it's Monday through Sunday for like 7 hours straight. Like, they're rehearsing like 3 months in advance for a play. So I always respected that kind of the grind they put in. But I love the performance-based of wrestling, the acting, and the really just interacting with a crowd.
Was there like a match or a wrestler that you kind of grew up on and said you want to emulate, and this is who I want to be if I become a professional wrestler?
I always looked up to Shawn Michaels. He was like my favorite growing up. He was one of the smaller guys, just like me. Very charismatic, very energetic. He just had this way about him. Every time, and now, like, I watch myself wrestle now, and I do little things that are similar to him, and then I'm like, I gotta like try to be myself and stand out. But I was so inspired by the way, just kind of like his fighting spirit, just the way he performed. And he was always a guy like I looked up to, like, as a kid. Like, he was like a role model to me. So Shawn Michaels for sure. A lot of other guys too, but he was, bar none, the guy that really stood out to me. Just the way he wrestled and how he interacted with people. He was my favorite by far.
When it comes to the pro wrestling side of things, you touched on it a little bit, but are there any parallels that you draw between that and football?
Maybe not parallels, but like, see, in football, when you're playing in a game and you're getting worn down, you're getting tired, you're getting hurt, maybe your knee is messed up or your arm or your shoulder, you hide your pain. You don't want the other team to see that you're hurt. You don't want them to see that your shoulder is taped up, because they're going to target that. They see if your knee's bothering you, they're going to target that. And you kind of just, grind your teeth together and you hold the pain back when you're playing football. You don't want your teeth. And another thing, you don't want your coaches to know, because then they might take you out, or the trainer might take you out. But wrestling is the opposite, because wrestling is, people say it's like fake, but it's like, that couldn't be further from the truth. That is like, that ring is so painful. Like, you basically just let out your pain. Like, it's the opposite. You let it out, and you point your face to the crowd. You look at people in the crowd. You look them in the eye, and you show them the pain that you're going through. It's like the complete opposite. As far as like the performance aspect, like football is like 1,000 times easier because you're just going 100%. Wrestling, you kind of, and everything for me, football is a lot more natural. Like, it's just certain things are more natural. I know what I'm doing on the field. Wrestling is like, I mean, I've definitely gotten a lot better, but it's like, it's difficult because most of it is on the fly and you're talking to the guy you're in the ring with. And it's about telling the story. It's not about the moves you do. You can do all these fancy flips and moves, but like, no one's really going to care or remember about it in the crowd at the end of the day. It's just going to be like fireworks if you're hitting random moves. Like, you're not going to remember it. So it's always about trying to develop and tell a story in the ring. That's a lot. That's different than football. Football's all athletic and the physical part, where wrestling's kind of mixed with the physical part and the entertainment part together. But definitely the nerves. It's good to be nervous before a game, and it's good to be nervous before a match, because not only that means you care, but that means you're going to have a certain kind of energy and that adrenaline rush. There's just nothing like it. So it's like very similar in the locker room before the game, and then up on the stage behind the curtain before a match. Like, I'm so excited. Like, it's the same kind of feeling.
How many matches have you had?
I've had a lot of matches like that were not recorded or not on shows where I got paid, because we do this thing at MCW. We do these birthday parties. So basically we get like a birthday kid and his whole family and all his friends. We'll get like 50 to 100 people at those shows, at the birthday shows. And the kid will get like a surprise match at the end, and we'll have him on a 3-on-3 tag match. And I've done probably 40 to 50 of those birthday party matches over the past 3 years. And I've had three official like pro matches. I had one in Virginia a couple years ago. I had one for MCW a couple years ago. And then a couple months ago, before the coronavirus thing hit, I had a match in Galena, Maryland for MCW. So yeah, I've had like a few pro, and I've had a bunch of birthday party matches pretty much.
Overall, what would you say some of the goals are that you have moving forward for the professional wrestling side?
I definitely want to work my way up the ladder. I want to get my name out there. I want to start getting some fans for MCW, because we get the same people to come to the shows every month. MCW, I'm lucky to be at that training school, because as far as independent wrestling goes, MCW is one of the best in the country. So we'll get like 700 to 1,000 people at the show, which is not, most independent wrestling. There's a lot of bad wrestling out there that'll get like 30 to 50 people in the crowd, and it's not really good wrestlers, and it's bad like matches. MCW does a really great job of putting together these storylines and building these characters that people really care about. And eventually I want to work my way up in MCW, eventually get to Ring of Honor, which is like, nationally televised. It's like minor league to WWE. And eventually I want to start making some money. Pretty much. I want to make money doing this. I want to make a living out of it. TV and, the streaming specials would be nice, but ultimately I want to build a fan base for myself and build my brand and start making some money doing this. That's what I want to do.